Faith without works is dead, but faith with works equals the grind. Welcome to the Boss Grind Podcast.
I like the way you do business.
What's going on, family? It's your boy, J. Anthony Smith, with another Boss Grind Podcast, kind of wrapping up the year 2023, Christmas season. I know everybody's kind of busy out there doing things, but of course, we have to stay the focus and talk to our business owners out there. And today we have a very special guest, my man, Trevor Jones with Village Culture. He's going to talk to us about what started Village Culture and where they are right now. So I'd like to introduce to you, Trevor Jones. What's going on, Trev?
Oh man, I'm loving life right now. You know, living in purpose is a beautiful thing. But, first and foremost, I want to thank you for giving me the platform to talk about village culture. It's something that's near and dear to me. And hopefully by, this conversation, we can add more substance when it comes to different things that we need as an organization.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you for willing to step up and, get out there and get into the community, but also, to let people know what's going on so they can see how they can help you continue to push the vision. So, we're just going to go right into it. Tell us about yourself.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. I consider myself pretty boring, but for some people think I'm pretty interesting. But my backstory, born in Sacramento, California, at the age of 8, I moved to Mobile. I stayed in Mobile probably until going into my 11th grade year, the summer of my 10th grade. Moved back to Sacramento where I graduated high school, started college. I used to frequent Tennessee quite a bit. My brothers, they were here, and every time I would come, they would say, you need to move to Nashville. So eventually I packed up my stuff, moved to Nashville, and that was probably 2000, where I started in the finished college. Then I started the corporate ladder, where I started with the major hospital systems and the corporate system from a healthcare perspective. And recently I learned truly why God has me on this earth, what my purpose is. So in a nutshell, this is me. I smile all the time because it's nothing better than knowing why you're here. And a lot of times I used to smile and didn't really mean it, but it was my shield because of the tears that I had and I was building up in me.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that. Again, welcome, and we definitely want to get into it. So tell us about Village Culture. Let us know what Village Culture is and what you do.
Village Culture, just like I had to, correct you today, Mr. Smith. Village Culture is spelled with the K. A lot of people think it's C, but for us, I wanted to personalize it, put the K on it, and I want it to stand out. And by doing that, it truly stands out. But Village Culture is a nonprofit, and we sponsor haircuts for the underserved, underrepresented children. The unique thing about Village Culture is once we bring a child on service, we keep that child on service until they graduate high school. The cool part is it doesn't really matter what grade they're in. We have kids that are in kindergarten, but we want them to understand consistency is key. So every other week, if they're in school, if they're not in school, but if we have them and we need to cut their hair or they need a haircut, we're going to make sure we take care of those kids. So twice a week till they graduate high school. But during that time, the haircut time, which is the most important time, and us as Blacks, we truly know how important it is to get a haircut. So during that time is when we have conversations. We let them know that they can dream big. They can do podcasts. They can run the boss grinds like you're doing. But they can also understand that we care. We're going to be here. We're going to make sure they have the tools and the vision to succeed in life.
That is great. That's an awesome opportunity that you're presenting out to the young people in the community. So what makes Village Culture unique as opposed to any other nonprofit or any other organization out there? What sets them apart from everybody else?
That's a great question. And it's one of believe it or not, it's probably the first time I was asked that question. And to be honest with you, I don't really know about a lot of organizations. I just know what Village Culture does. But before I lead into that, I kind of want to give you the backstory of Village Culture. In my life, I'm blessed. If you look at things, if you look at me, you would say, you live a good life. But a lot of people didn't understand there was no substance there. There wasn't purpose. And I prayed, and I prayed, believe it or not, for 30 years, asking God, like, why am I on this earth? It's every night, every night. And it got to the point where I did it so long, I felt like, okay, this is my purpose. Like what I have now is my purpose. This is what I'm going to do dying. When I die, this is what I'm going to do. But 2 years ago, COVID, of course, it affected a lot of people. And it was tough for me in a sense of two things that I always did. It was work out and go to the gym. I mean, go to the gym and get a haircut. All of that stopped. It got to the point where I was almost depressed because it's something you do for years on years on years, and you had no option to do it at all. But flip side, it caused me to sit down. And once I sat down is when God started talking to me. He started talking to me. He told me in certain sessions, in certain times that I sat down, he was talking to me on what I was going to do. Long story short, when I looked at it and I started listening, it started to make more sense. And it was haircuts. Haircuts. I'm going to pay for haircuts for these kids. My idea was, okay, yeah, I can definitely do that. Pay a couple $100, get back, silent, no one needs to know. It was around the same time my mentor, and I'm not going to even say mentor, I'm going to say big brother because he's more than something on paper, but he's a person that really believes in Trevor. He was sitting down with me. It was one of our sessions, and he was like, Trevor, what's going on? I'm like, I have to give back. And he said, how do you want to give back? And I said, I'm gonna start paying for haircuts. And we were at the dinner table, who was eating, and he was like, man, I love your idea, but if you really want to make change, you should think about doing a nonprofit. It stopped me, right? I'm like, man, I'd never really believed in nonprofits. A lot of times I thought, it was a money grab, or, really, are they doing it for whatever their purpose is, right? But it gave me the pointed question of, what am I going to do? That's where the rubber met the road. Sat there, let's do a nonprofit. So we're sitting there, I think it was probably like a Thursday. That next week, I'm on the phone with a lawyer he introduced me to, his personal lawyer. And that's how Village Culture got started. So it's different. It's different from my perspective, from my purpose, understanding. I was that kid that did not have the financial means to get a haircut. You get to the point of, I don't know if a lot of us had to experience this, but I had to try to cut my hair. I had my brother cut my hair, or we would use razors to cut each other's hair with not cut hair with razors, but edge ourselves up with razors. So when you ask me what the difference is, I don't know about a lot of nonprofits, but I can tell you this is my purpose. I'm not going to say my passion because it's scary. It's to the point of, I know I have to do it. And it's faith, right? It's faith. It's not something that is truly planned out. I truly have to listen to him guide me to the next step. But I think the unique thing is, when I look at Surface and other nonprofits, we are continuous with the kids. We pay for the haircuts twice a month until they graduate high school. But during that time is when we have real conversations. When we first see the kid, a lot of times they don't talk. Handshakes are not solid. They don't look you in the eye, but you can see the transition. The more we meet them, the more they get to know us, the more we get to know them, we become part of their life, and we become trusted members of their life. So consistency, we also found to be very, very important. I didn't know that. I didn't know it would mean that much to be consistent to these kids. But if you look at their lifestyle, there's no consistency a lot of times. Us, we're going to be there. I think that is one thing that truly, truly separates us. I think that's the heart of it, because I can always tell you, when I was in a certain job and I was truly stressed out, I would go to the barbershop. Right? I would go to the barbershop. As you see, I don't have that much hair. I used to have like nice waves and all that. So when I go to the barbershop now, it's not so much for that. I keep the goatee looking good and edged up and faded up a little bit, but it's more of the environment. It's seeing the kids in there. It's seeing the barbers. It's listening to stories, understanding that at this point, I'm kind of a person that a lot of kids look up to, taking that challenge, owning it, making a difference. So that's where, I can keep going with it. I'm a little passionate about it because I know we're going to change the world. Scary to say, but it's real. So, when I talk about, people ask me about village culture, so many different things I can talk about because it's why I'm here. So I'll stop there.
Man, that was a lot of information. I mean, like I said, I can hear the passion. When you talk to somebody about something that they really love, they can go on forever, and you can hear, and I can hear the passion and love and desire in your voice as you're talking about it. And one thing I just want to kind of back up and kind of talk about a little bit is you said that you didn't know what your purpose was. You were asking God, "What is my purpose? Why am I here?" And come to think about it, not many people go through that process. They may go through their whole life not knowing what their purpose is or why they're here and what they're supposed to do. And that almost seems kind of like a lost type of situation where you're just existing. You're not really living because you're not operating in the purpose that you were designed for. So for you at a young age to be asking yourself that, asking God that, is like a testament of the desire that you have and that you put forth out there, is that you really want to know what's going on. Why am I here? What am I here to do, kind of thing. So I want to applaud you on that.
Thank you. And it's big, James. And it's, one of the things for me is as I started working out more and more, right, I started to see results, and I eventually got a trainer, and we got to the point where we're so close. I consider him my big brother. But one thing I found in working out, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to see results until you truly know how to breathe. Breathing is key for a great workout. Now, when I looked at that and I learned how to breathe, it made me realize majority of the people on this earth don't breathe, not deep breaths, right? So how many people do you know that can truly breathe and feel what's going on? So once I did that, it gave me even more substance of I have to make a difference. I have air in my body. I have to make a difference in this world. So young, I don't know if I was young per se, maybe, early. Well, actually I was in my teens. But I knew early on what I was doing wasn't fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And I knew that, I'll say this, I was my mom's skirt tail baby. I was very shy. And I would always go to church. My mom was always in church. And I had a pastor that prophesied to me. It was a revival. He was an evangelist. And long story short, he told me I was going to be a minister, pastor. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, because for me, it was every pastor, every minister that I was around, they had a lot of nice things, the nice suits, the nice cars, but none of the congregation, or majority of the congregation, did not have that. And when I looked at it, and I'm a young kid, I'm not even in my teens, I felt like, no, I'm not doing that, because why would I do it and my congregation has nothing? And I'm sitting in the pew like, this is not something that I'm going to take in. Fast forward, when I first started Village Culture, like you said, passion, and it's a story, it's my story. So I have to keep my story real. So that comes out when I talk about Village Culture. But I was talking to a lady and I was telling her what we were doing and how we're going to have change in this world. And she tells me, do you know you're ministering right now? Mm. I didn't know what to say, right? Because when you look at ministers, I know when I looked at ministers and pastors, typically it's in the pulpit, right? But you can change the world in so many different ways. It brought me to tears because I ran from it for so long. And I'm not going to even say I ran from it. God knew I wasn't ready for it. And when he felt like I was ready, is when he told me what we're going to do.
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot. Well, hey, folks, we are really getting into it with Trevor. So what we're going to do is just take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up and hear more about Trevor's story, and again, more about village culture, and then, how you can reach him and how you can help out. So we'll be right back after these messages. All right, folks, we are back, and we've been talking with Trevor Jones with Village Culture about his process and how he got everything started and where he is now. So we're just going to go right into it and continue this great conversation. So, Trev, tell me what has been the hardest part about running your business?
I wish I could say that was a trick question, but it's pretty simple. I think first and foremost, I think the most challenging thing and most humbling thing is understanding the importance of faith, right? I got to the point where when I first started Village Culture, I was so stressed out because it was so many different things coming at me. But I spoke to a spiritual advisor, and he told me he knew it was a purpose of mine. He knew it, but his words to me were very, very valuable. He said, in the corporate world, which that's what you do and where you are now, you know what it takes to succeed, right? You know what you need to do. You know what your metrics is to become successful in your role, right? The difference here is there's no metrics. Mm-hmm. You have to totally listen to what God has you to do. And to me, that's tough because that leads into other things. Mm-hmm. I think the other hard part, and I know the other hard part is asking, right? Asking for monetary donations. And I try to refrain from saying donations. I like it more as planting a seed. If you plant a seed, we all know you water it, it's going to grow. And that's what we're doing. We're giving these kids hope. And honestly, anytime someone gives, they should give with confidence, because the kid will never, ever forget that time, ever forget the time, never forget the time that they're with that barber, the time that Village Culture was in the room talking to them, letting them know that they're truly kings. They may not see it, but they are, right? And to have faith and hold them accountable and give them that time to talk, because they like to talk. Once they get to know you, they do like to air out a lot of different things, and knowing that is a safe place. So, monetary, that's always tough. And when I was a kid, like, we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot of, means. We didn't have a lot of money. So when I got older and I first started working, I was in 11th grade in California. I was at Round Table Pizza. I worked there part-time while I was in high school. But when I graduated, I was a student intern. So not a student assistant, they called it, where I worked there Monday through Friday, and I would work Saturday and Sunday at Round Table Pizza. I did that, and then I moved here and I did the same thing. So I worked 2 jobs 7 days a week because I never wanted to ask. Never wanted to feel like I had to ask anybody for anything. I didn't care it was 7 days. It didn't matter to me, as long as I had money in the bank and I can take care of what I needed to take care of. But it's a humbling thing because God said it's bigger than that. right? My whole purpose, a lot of times when I come and talk about village culture, is I do need funding. We can't move the needle without funding, right? We have a big vision. When we look at Nashville, we want a strong imprint, but we also want to have a strong imprint across the United States. End game is to be in as many states, hopefully 50 internationally, because every kid needs help. There's a kid somewhere, every state has a kid that probably needs help. So we want to be able to be that conduit where they have the ability to dream. So that's the second thing outside of faith, money, but also the buy-in. When I look at a lot of my friends, I think they believe in my vision, but being consistent with more people, they like it, they like what I hear, but get on the team where you're giving it out as well. Telling people about it, putting it on your social media, putting it on your platforms, because we want it to spread, right? We want the attention where it can truly help benefit these kids in the future.
Got it. Got it. Man, that's definitely saying a lot. I mean, like you said, the purpose and the mission is what's most important. And as you're going through this process, you're learning a lot as you're going, and like you said, at some point you have to humble yourself and humble the things that would normally hold you back. You have to step out and be like, I can't do like I would normally do in my normal process. I have to do something totally different than what I'm used to doing.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's where, it's so real, because at first I would be like, yeah, I'll just pay for it, right? Okay, yeah, I have my 501c3, and village culture is trademarked. I'll just do it on my own. But as I grow, I truly see what the doc was talking about. To truly change the world, to truly make an impact, you have to have buy-in. You have to have people that are not just believing in you, but showing that they believe in you, which makes the difference.
Right. And that kind of leads me into, my next question is, what is some advice that you wish you would have received when you first started?
Wow. And to me, that's somewhat of a hard question, in a sense of, for the most part, I thought I knew, or I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. For one, I knew nonprofit was tough when it came to funding. Mm-hmm. But I had great words from my mentor when we first talked about village culture. It was, I'm gonna back you 110%, Trevor, but I want you to do it the right way. That's my only ask. So by doing that, and the advice I would give is, take your time, right? He told me, take my time. It's going to come. It's going to come. Be patient. Be patient, right? And then also understanding that you can't reach everybody. Like, some people just don't believe in giving, right? It just doesn't happen. And that's where I learned. That was probably the biggest lesson I learned, even though I consider myself friends with a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. I found that a lot of them still don't give. And it's not that they don't like me or they don't believe in what I'm doing. Some people are just not, they would never talk to give. And that's where I learned, from a village culture nonprofit perspective, you can really benefit by giving, right? For a lot of different reasons. Two reasons I can give you: tax write-off, right? If you're a 501c3, you definitely get, the tax benefits, but also understanding that you are going to make a difference, right? You're going to make a difference. And I'm not even going to say all the kids, but if I have 15 kids, one of them you're going to make a difference with. So that is, a lot of the different things that I learned, and the things that I took in, and also learned that everybody has an idea. Everybody, Trevor, you should do this. Trevor, you should do that. How about this? You have to learn to say no. And I'm still working on that. So those are some of the things that caught on and I learned. But the last thing I will say, and my spiritual advisor told me, is I'm not gonna even say it. I'm not gonna even say it. But I will say this. He told me, and I'll say it. He said, "You don't have to partner with anybody."
Mm.
I'm like, whoa. I'm like, but he's like, because God is going to bring everybody that you need, right? And it doesn't even have to be a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow. He said, because in 400 years, no one has ever done what you've done when it comes to village culture. No one. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, there's nothing that you can say. He's like, because I did research. He's like, there's nothing that you can say where someone as a village feel is coming in these kids' lives, making a difference consistently,
right,
from your standpoint. He's like, it's never been done. So he was like, trust and have faith because it's going to come. It's going to come. So that was one of the things I took in because I was like, why me? Like, why? Why? I'm not the smartest. I'm not the best looking. I don't have the most swag. And he says, because no one else God felt like could do it. And I'm like, and it brought me to tears. Like, and I'm not even an emotional guy, but it really brought me to tears because that's where I knew, like, it really cemented why I was here. Because I didn't even know him. Like, I met him one time before. He lives in Mobile, Alabama. I was doing my first sit down, and his father is a mega pastor out there, and he has a church as well. But I had to reach out to him because I knew he would probably be able to relate to what I was doing. And when I first talked to him, he was like, I only have a few minutes to talk to you. Those few minutes came to almost an hour where he gave me advice and he told me, you know, the words that I needed to hear that he got from God.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's awesome. That is awesome. You know, it's important. One of the things that I'm picking up from you is that as far as with business owners, a lot of times we start business ideas without having that backing as far as people in our ear that we can talk to that can give us the seeds of information, of encouragement and knowledge that can help keep us going. A lot of times we just started on our own. Like you said, I can do it by myself. I got this by myself. And then we run into these pitfalls and we don't have anybody to turn to that can, like I said, encourage us or just give us something that we didn't think of before. So it's definitely important to have yourself surrounded by the right people with the right information that can give it to us when we need it.
And that's real. That's real. That's real.
Man.
So I'm learning, man, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. I stay humble because this truly, village culture truly, it humbles me in so many different ways. The impact that, and I don't like saying me, you know, God put this in me to do, but every time someone gives, they're part of village culture, right? But being able to see, like, the more and more I see the kids, right? The more and more I see the kids and understanding by doing this, it brings me out of my bubble, where, okay, yeah, you know, I'm blessed, right? Truly blessed. But then I look at these kids, like most of these kids, I was in in a school earlier this week, and some of these kids hadn't had a haircut in a year. I look at my life, if I don't get a haircut, it's because either I don't feel like it or I missed the appointment. I have options, right? They don't have options. They don't have the means. So us coming in there and seeing this, the smile, like if you really pay attention to a kid that doesn't get a lot of haircuts and you sit down and just kind of observe when they first sit down versus when they get ready to get up and get the spray on them, I guarantee you're going to see a different look. You're going to see a different look. And if it doesn't impact you, I don't know what to tell you, but that small thing, right? Confidence through grooming, it leads to major change. And that's why when I say I'm going to change the world, or we're going to change the world, because culture is going to change the world, that's how, right? If you look at a kid that's a troubled kid, feel like no one believed in them, no structure, but they know from a village culture standpoint, we're consistent. We listen to them. We give them advice. We put them in situations where they see success of their color, right? Outside of sports, they see success. You don't think that's going to change someone's thought process? You don't think that's going to change their fight in life? That's how it gets big, from Nashville to 50 plus states or international.
Man, boy, Trev, you don't put a lot on us today, man. You really have, man. Just I said, village culture is definitely like so I can see it. I've been following you and seeing everything that you're doing, and I definitely see great things to come in the future on how you will grow this vision and take it worldwide and things like that. So as we kind of wrap up here, tell us how can people reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you? How can they donate? Give us all that information.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So we pretty much have the major platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram. We have a website. From a donation standpoint, we have Venmo, we have Cash App, we have all the platforms. You can, Zelle, just Village Culture. Again, with the K, with the K. At Village Culture, you can follow at Village Culture. But by typing in all of that, of course, you do the hashtag and, the ad sign on those pay platforms, we will come up. So, that's major. But also, right, like I said, to continue the movement, to continue this change, to continue this growth, monetary is key. Like donations, planting a seed is key. But also another donation for Village Culture would be spread the word. That's a donation for us, right? Because we need people to spread the word. We need people to bring children to us, right? Reach out to me. If you see a kid that truly needs, guidance, we can help them with that. Because a lot of times we see single moms or single parents, I'll say, not even moms, just single parents or guardians, grandmothers, a lot of times, grandfathers. So, if you see that, that'll be a major donation for us, right? But the positive vibes, man, keep us in your prayers, because again, this is uncharted waters, but I can guarantee it's going to truly make a difference.
Man, brother, again, Trevor, like I said, I continue to applaud you for your work, your dedication to your vision and what's going on and changing the lives of these young people. We need that kick, we need that support to help change what could possibly be a detrimental outcome to a more positive outcome for these young people, giving them the support that they need, the ability to talk, and coming on bringing them to a consistent level, bringing them on a mutual level of just getting a haircut, and that, like you said, opens up doors, breaks down the barriers of apprehension and fear, and allow them to open up and give what's on their mind, and then you being able to turn around and help them in some form or fashion along the way. So, man, again, salute to you, Trevor. Everything that you're doing, we support you here at the Boss Grind podcast. So, any last words before we head out?
Yeah, sometimes I get carried away, but for all the viewers, kind of reflect and look at life and think about, what is success to you? What is success? Is it just your financial means? Is it, the people you're around? For me, success is village culture, right? Is changing this world, is changing these kids to believers. Because a lot of them don't think past tomorrow, and it really hurts. It's an emotional thing for me. So I won't get into that too much, but if you can just see like how appreciative they are, it will make a change in a lot of lives. So also, last thing I want to say, and sometimes it's tough for me to say, but I want us as Blacks to get out of our comfort zone, get out of our silos, because a lot of times the people that I know are successful, not a lot of them, but some of them, their thought is, I made it, you make it. Right? You figure it out. But we can't change the world by doing that. And if you don't give the village culture, give to somebody. because there's good out there. I know we're good, from a standpoint of we're going to definitely do what we need to do, but there's other organizations as well. But we need to understand we all need to help one another. Let's get back to that village feel, because if we get back to that village feel, we can truly make a difference on this earth.
Man, salute to you, Trevor, man. Appreciate your words. Again, salute to Village Culture and the vision and the pathway that is going up. I see great things coming to you, and you continue to shine a light on these young people. So that's the Boss Grind podcast for today. We appreciate, again, Trevor coming by, giving us the insight, giving us information on Village Culture. So continue to follow up with us as we bring more entrepreneurs to you and allowing them to give their vision of what they're doing and how we can help and how we can continue to support everyone that's out there. So I'm your host, J. Anthony Smith with the Boss Grind Podcast. We'll see you again soon.
Faith without works is dead, but faith with works equals the grind. Welcome to the Boss Grind Podcast.
I like the way you do business.